If the past few years have taught us anything, it's taught us that we need to be living our purpose. We have really started to see what is not working for us. And what I'm seeing a lot of people having issues with is finding what they want to do and what they really do align and resonate with, especially around career. And your career can shift and change as your vibration shifts and changes and you grow. So today I'm talking all about how to discover your life purpose. So stay tuned. Welcome to Spiritual and Ambitious. I'm your host, Whitney McNeill. I'm a certified medium and spiritual teacher, and I help spiritual and ambitious souls just like you live your life purpose through your career and attract abundance by connecting into your intuition and spirit guides. Let's get spiritual and ambitious. Before we get started, I want to give a shout out to Yoga Julie, who says, "Love this podcast. It is presented well, dispels the myth of success being incompatible with a heart-centered business. It's perfect for those of us with one foot in each realm." Thank you so much, Julie. So if you love this podcast, I would love to see your review so I can give you a shout out. Oh my goodness, we're talking about life purpose, such a huge topic in this realm, and so many people that I work with inside of my group programs. This is a big one, especially Intuition Abundance Academy. This is where you really start learning more about your life purpose archetype. So if you've not already signed up on the wait list, you want to do that, I will put the link to the waiting list in the show notes. But, I'm going to be pulling some cards. So the first card I'm pulling is a card of the dragonfly out of my Messenger of Spirit Oracle deck. Your purpose is being revealed. Oh my goodness. Like, how on point can you get with that? And then a card I pulled next to it, you're ascending towards your higher calling. The energy is intense. And yes, it is. Have you been feeling the energy intensity? Have you been feeling kind of like that chaotic energy in a way? If you have, send me a DM on Instagram. My handle is at Messenger of Spirit. I want to know how it's been feeling for you. Now, you might be hearing thunder in the background, and it feels like spirit just kind of underlined and put an exclamation point under the intensity of the energy we're all feeling. So, what is life purpose? The way I teach life purpose inside of my Intuition Abundance Academy is that you have a life purpose archetype. Generally speaking, there are 7 life purpose archetypes. And I normally see that you have one primary, a secondary, and then a third. And I will see a lot of people needing to go through each of their 3 archetypes to really find and exhibit their primary purpose. But that is the purpose. It is an energy that exists within us, and it is an energy that we cannot ignore. If you were to go back to when you were young, what would you want to do? Where were you drawn? So, for an example, I have 3 main life purpose archetypes. My third is a creator. Well, what did I do in college? I went into marketing. I, before college, was highly considering going to an art school. I loved creating. I loved drawing. I loved painting. It was one of my favorite pastimes. My secondary archetype is the archetype of the healer. When I was really young, I would try to talk to the trees. I would hold my hands above my animals, trying to heal them. I would pretend I was this great healer. I told my parents I needed my rock collection because it had healing properties. Well, we all know that that's crystal healing now, but you can see I was drawn to this. I wanted to really affect in a positive way people's lives. So in college, before I went to marketing, I ended up trying to study medicine. And I did that path for a while until I realized that organic chemistry was not my friend and that I really didn't want to be poking needles in people. And so I changed my major. but I always had a strong propensity for healing. Now, one of the hallmarks of a healer archetype is that you yourself may struggle or have gone through your own personal healing journey. For me, that is definitely something that's happened. That is something that you might see in yourself. So I'm using my examples to have you kind of look into what might be resonant for you. Now, you could have one of the other archetypes. I've only talked about creator and healer so far. Now, my primary archetype is the teacher archetype. This is teaching. This is part of me being on this podcast, helping other people. My programs that I have online, that is part of teaching. When I have gone back into my life, I've seen that I used to pretend I was a teacher. I used to be in marketing. I had a marketing job, but I would partner with donating school supplies to the schools. I would try to have workshops and courses to help educate people in the field that I was in. So you can see that that teacher was always there. What's really interesting is I did the creator for a while and it just wasn't fulfilling. I went through a miraculous healing journey of my own and went into my healer archetype. And even though I loved it, I saw so many people wanting me to teach. Your primary archetype is part of you. It is part of your energy that emanates around you, that people are attracted to you without you even knowing. That is your life purpose. Now, your life path is something different. Your life path is how you choose to live your purpose. So, a lot of times people are asking about their path, even though they already know what their purpose is. They want to know usually what vocation they should be doing. Well, you're listening to this podcast, so you want to live your purpose through your career. Now, I have the teacher archetype as my primary one. I could have taught at university, I could have taught in school, I could be teaching many other modalities. However, I had to walk through my other purposes, my archetypes, to truly know what I wanted to teach. I wanted to teach healing. I wanted to teach people how to truly be their authentic selves. So I'm just giving you 3 out of the 7 as an example. Somebody could have the healer archetype, and that is their purpose, to be a healer. But their path could be a physical therapist, a veterinarian, an acupuncturist, a Reiki practitioner. The list goes on and on. So really get clear with yourself. Do I know my purpose, or am I wanting to know more about my path? Look back at what you loved, what you were drawn to when you were younger. Also, look at the skill sets that you have with the people around you and what they say you're so good at. One of my skill sets, people say, is you just give me some great advice. You just tend to know things. That's coming from that teacher element. So, a lot of times people say, I want to find my purpose. And what I like to say is, no, it's discovering your purpose. Discover is like, I already have it within me. I am just digging it out. I am just letting it come to the surface. A lot of times we know our purposes when we are young and they get squashed. So, an example, my mom, when she was little, she loved to be on stage. She wanted to dance, she wanted to act. However, her mom squashed that because her mom's purpose was different. It was definitely something else. Her mother's purpose was being a helper and a creator. And my mom's purpose was to help and be an entertainer. So, what happened? She wasn't able to fulfill the entertainer archetype as she wanted. When she ended up moving into the helper archetype, just like her mom did. However, you still see the entertainer coming out, always wanting to make sure everybody's happy, talking to everybody at the checkout lines, always making sure people are aware of emotions. So you can see how it's really important that even your children, they know what their purpose is and where they're naturally drawn. It's up to us as parents not to squash that dream. But if your dream has been squashed, you're listening to this episode now, I want you to go back and reclaim what your purpose truly is. People get burned out, resentful, when they are not living in their primary archetype. If I were a creator, I could live my purpose through many different ways. I could be writing, painting, even cooking. I love to create, but I don't want to do it all the time. It's something that is within you, and you will know and discover more about your own energy. It is a remembering of your energy versus feeling like you have to go out and find it. Your purpose does not exist outside of yourself. Your purpose is in your energy. It is your energetic imprint. And what I teach my students to do is to amplify it, to get into your own energy, connect with your intuition, and amplify it so that it becomes a magnet all around you where you cannot help but notice it. So, where does it live? It lives in your energy, it lives in your soul. This is your energetic imprint. You cannot change it. You cannot come to earth and change what it is. You can choose to live outside your purpose, but you will know that you're not living it when you're burnout and you're tired and you're resentful. It is your job to find a life path that works with your purpose. So your purpose is already within you. However, you get to change, create, and start a new life path that corresponds with it. You can see that in my college years, I could have gone into medicine. And let's just say that I did that. Well, eventually I would have learned that was not my path. And I would have gotten back on the road to Reiki and healing, which would then lead me into healing through readings, which would then lead me into the teaching. Just because your path at one time in your life looks different than it looks now does not mean it's bad. I've seen counselors and therapists change their path to being life coaches and Reiki healers. I've seen scientists change their profession to energy healing. As long as your path corresponds with your purpose, you're good. So, do we have the same life purposes throughout the lifetimes? Well, hang with me and I'll tell you. As a professional psychic medium, I've done tens of thousands of readings, but I felt a call to move more fully into teaching intuition. But I still get so many requests about doing readings. So while I don't do readings anymore, I have brought in some very trusted colleagues who are now available for live 1 hour readings on Zoom. If you would like to book your psychic medium reading, go to messengerofspirit.com/appointments to see our available readers and schedule your Zoom reading today. Thanks for hanging in there. So, do we have the same life purposes through different lifetimes? Yes, most of the time we do. When I am talking to someone or giving someone a reading, I will see previous lifetimes of what they have lived around their purpose. Their path looks different, but their purpose is still the same. So if you're a healer this lifetime, you most likely have had past lifetimes as a healer. I know that you've lived your purpose or you've had your purpose, even if you chose not to live a path that corresponded with it. But in some ways, shapes, and forms, you've had that. It just might look a little different. And that's why I'm seeing so many healers and intuitive people be afraid of really coming into their own power because they've had other lifetimes where they've been trying to live their purpose, but they were met with resistance. And when they were met with resistance, they were shunned or burned or killed. or outcast. This is your purpose this lifetime, so that it is your time to finally be your purpose. When we follow what we are feeling, what our joy is, it will bring you closer to the path. So many people are struggling with, well, do I see people one-on-one? Do I do this in groups? Well, how do I actually get this purpose? And it doesn't necessarily occur to them that they can create their own business because they get stumped or they're afraid of visibility. And when you're afraid of visibility, you hide your gifts, you hide your abilities. So I want you to just hear this. You are worthy. If you're having issues with becoming visible, you may want to think about some affirmations to use, such as, it's safe for me to be visible. I shine my light brightly. And when you think about hiding, when you don't have the confidence to truly step into your purpose, I want you to remember that when you're hiding, you are not only doing yourself a disservice by not living your purpose, but you are hiding from all of the people that you have made contracts with to help. These people are clients. These people are wonderful souls that are waiting for you to finally say, this is me and this is what I do. And I'm ready to come out of this closet. This is truly where, I guess you can say, the magic happens. When we allow ourselves to stop hiding and we stop being afraid of judgment, then we also allow ourselves the joy and freedom to expand. So I'm going to tie this back around. How do you find your purpose? One, I want you to get acquainted with the archetypes, and I have a free life purpose quiz I'll link to in the show notes to help you. Two, I want you to join the waiting list for Intuition Abundance Academy, where I help walk you through how to find your path and your purpose. But ultimately, I want you to follow what your feeling is. And if you've been feeling energetically stuck in a funk and heavy, go back to what you loved as a child. What fascinated you as a child? So if you tell me you wanted to be an astronaut, well, maybe truly you need to be an astronaut, but I want you to go deeper. What was I attracted about? Exploration, freedom. I want to explore the world. So your archetype could be the humanitarian. These are just some clues to help you discover your life purpose. I'm going to briefly go over the 7 archetypes. I've talked to you about the teacher. I've talked to you about the healer and the creator. There's a humanitarian. The humanitarian wants to save the world and serve the world and help the world on a larger basis. There's the entertainer who wants to help people feel and stay connected to their emotions. Most of the time, the entertainer wants people to be happy, but not always. Actors are great entertainers, or they want you to feel the depths of your soul and the emotional part of you. There is the helper. The helper loves to help. Caregivers are great helpers. Stay-at-home moms are great helpers. Helpers can be found in any industry because they are helping other people through their vocation. And finally, there's the protector. Protectors want to protect. They want to root for the underdog. They want to help the world by shielding others from harm. So I want to see you take that life purpose quiz because I want to know your results. You can go to messengerofspirit.com/purpose to take the quiz. And don't forget to message me and let me know which one you got. All right, I will be back next week with a brand new episode. But until then, here's to staying spiritual and ambitious. Thanks so much for listening to this episode. And if you loved it, would you please share it with a friend? I would also love your review. And a reminder to subscribe so you never miss an episode. You can find me at messengerofspirit.com, and you can take the 4 intuitive languages quiz and find show notes there too. If you want to connect on YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram, you can find me at Messenger of Spirit. I'll meet you right here next week. Here's to staying spiritual and ambitious.
This podcast is part of the Sound Advice FM network. Sound Advice FM. Women's voices amplified.